We have seen a rapid increase in home prices in the Dane County area over the last few years, and every time something like that happens, the natural response, which makes a lot of sense, is that if they're going up, they've got to fall. And I understand the thought process behind that, but here's what it's led to. It's led to a lot of people looking at things and saying, well, I'm just going to wait until prices come back down and then I'll buy my house. I know I want to own a house. I know I want to buy a house, but I'm going to wait until prices come down. And quite frankly, while I understand the thought process in that, it's the worst thing you can do financially in the real estate market today. And here's why. All right, first of all, we need to understand a little bit about how supply and demand is impacting our local market. So let's take a look at this graph. We take a look here, we're gonna see where we're at with active properties and home sales. This is both single family and condos in Dane County. And you'll see the pink line is the number of sales we've had, where we kind of top out at about 900. We're kind of on our way up there right now. We'll see if we hit that in July or not. But here's where our supply is. It's been under 700. And in fact, if we go back and we can take a look at where we were, let's say 2018, 2019, that looks a little bit different. Now we're hitting up to 1,500. We're still hitting 900 to 1,000. But if we go all the way back and we take a look at what happened the last time prices actually changed, here's where we're going to see. Let's look at 2008 and 2009. Look at our sales, still at 800. Okay, so just under where we've been to 900 or 1,000, but look at our inventory, 5,200 houses. Right now, we've been under 700. Back then, we had 5,200. You understand, we had 7 to 8 times as many houses on the market back then as we have today, yet we were still selling at basically the same pace. So with that supply and demand disconnect, we have a major supply issue here, where that shortage we know is going to drive prices. So let's see where prices have gone. First of all, we want to understand what's happened in Dane County. And if we look at this population graph, we are going to see a consistent increase in population in Dane County since 2000. That means this is a destination place. People aren't leaving here. People are coming here, and the area is continuing to grow. Guess what? When people move here, we need units, we need places for them to live. And if we know we're in a shortage and we're continuing to see an increase in the number of people that are coming here, something needs to shift, right? Before we see that disconnect and we no longer have a housing shortage. Now here's where that shortage has led to. Looking here, we can see the median sales price in Dane County for single family and condos since 2000. And we look at this graph, the red ones are the 4 years where we saw a decrease in home prices. So 2008, 2009, we get bumped up again in 10 and then down in 11 and 12. Okay, and so we did see a decrease in prices during those years, but every other year leading up to that, we saw an increase, and every year since then, we've seen an increase. In fact, we've seen rapid increases. So what we've seen here is the memory that a lot of people still have in place. But what we forget about, and what people forget about, is a lot of that was built on the distressed home sales, homes that are under foreclosure, or where property owners had to sell for more less than what they owed on the property. Here's a graph showing the distressed home sales over time here in Dane County, and we'll see we peaked in 2012 with almost 1,000 foreclosures or short sales. Meanwhile, when we get over here 2021, 2022, we're down to like 0.2% of total home sales being distressed property sales versus 16% being distressed property sales back during or coming out of that last recession. So think about this. If 16% of the market is a foreclosure or a short sale, a distressed home sale, what is that going to do to the overall median sales price? Right? It's going to have an impact on it. So if we look at houses that were not under foreclosure and houses that were not in a short sale situation, this is the median sales price change that we see during those same 4-year period. Here's our non-distressed single family median sales price. So I couldn't include condos just the way that I could pull it up with the information that I have. It was difficult to put condos and single family together to do that. So looking just at the single family median sales price, we'll see in 2008 we were at about 230. We did drop $10,000 into 2009, but then right back up in 2010, about halfway there in 2011. This is not a scary picture. And this is the majority of the home sales, which shows that the majority of the home sales in Dane County during the last housing crisis didn't see a massive decrease in value. And here's what that means today. If we were to match the worst period in housing in Dane County, which was fueled by foreclosures and short sales, in a time period right now where we're seeing increased population and not enough houses on the market, basically housing prices would stagnate. They'd sit the same, okay? And here's where that impacts you. Every year that you own your property, you're gaining equity, right? You're paying yourself instead of a landlord. You're recouping that money, right? So even if prices stagnate, you're paying something down and building your wealth. You are building your investment. And if prices do increase, which we can see is a pretty good chance for us to see, you're gaining money, you're making money, and this is your investment. So every year that you wait, you are losing that chance of growing equity. And every year that you are putting off purchasing a house, you are waiting for houses to become more expensive to purchase. And not only are you going to end up paying more if you ever get into home ownership, but you're losing that value that you pick up and that wealth that you are creating during that time of owning your home. So I hope that makes sense. As always, if you have any questions about how this might apply to your situation or what you're thinking about, let me know. I promise you, the only thing we want is for people to be able to make great decisions with where they live and how they use their money, and we'd be happy to help you out.